Hello, everybody. I'm going to try a new thing here and see how making a video answer key for a homework worksheet goes and see if this is something that we like and we want to keep going with in the future. So number 9, the coordinate of point M on a number line is 11. If mn equals 12, what are the possible coordinates for n on the number line? So let's see, if we've got a number line here and the coordinate of point M is 11. So we'll put an 11 right there. Then if mn equals 12, n could be over here 12. And if it was 12 to the left on the number line, that would put it at -1. And if it's 12 to the right, which is the other possibility on the number line, that would put it at 11 plus 12, or 23. So the coordinates for n then would be -1 or 23. Number 12, Benito wrote the equations shown about the figure. Explain Benito's errors. So Benito says that segment AB is equal to segment BC, segment AD is equal to segment DC, and angle A is equal to angle C. However, in geometry, we don't like saying that figures are equal to each other. When we're talking about lines or angles or some kind of picture, we need to use a congruency symbol instead. So Benito should have used a congruent symbol instead of the equal sign. Number 13, point Y is in the interior of angle XWZ. Let's draw that out. So we've got angle, let's see, I'm not very good at drawing on this yet, angle XWZ. So here is XW, because that's going to be in the middle, Z, and point Y is in the interior. So here's another ray coming out, and that's going to give us point Y. Given that ray WX and ray WZ are opposite rays, whoops, I've drawn my picture incorrectly. I'm going to go ahead and erase that, because opposite rays tell us we have a line that is a straight line, and the opposite rays would mean that I have my angle going this direction with letter Y in the middle. So here I have X, W, Z, and then I have Y coming out in the middle somewhere. Pays to read your question all the way before you start writing. And the measure of angle XWY, so XWY, is equal to 4 times the measure of YWZ. So XWY is a lot bigger, even though it doesn't look like it in my drawing. Then we'll make angle YWZ X. It's the smaller angle. And angle XWY is 4x, because it's 4 times as big according to the picture. So if I'm going to write the equation for that to try and figure out how big these angles are, I say, well, I know that an opposite ray is going to be 180 degrees, which means that 4x plus x, or 5x, equals 180 degrees. And then I can just go ahead and do my division. So x equals 36. But we also have to make sure that's what the question is asking. It says, what is the measure of angle YWZ? And if we look at YWZ, right there, that shows us that that is x. So the measure of angle YWZ is equal to 36 degrees. Let's see if I can start putting boxes around these. All right, number 15. In the diagram at right, the measure of angle LMN equals 116. Let's put some numbers down here. LMN is 116, obviously on the interior of that angle. If I know that that's 116, and I see these two little arcs, I know that that means that each of these arcs are going to be half of 116, because they're congruent. So that's going to be 58, 58. And I also see another angle on this diagram with one arc, which means that's another congruent angle with a measure of 58 degrees. Then we know that the measure of JKM equals 122 degrees, so that's going to be JKM right there. That's 122 degrees. And the measure of angle JNM is 103 degrees. Now, if we know JNM is 103 and we know that the angle JNK is 58, then we can say that angle KNM is going to be 103 minus 58, or 45 degrees. Now we know that every angle with two arcs on it is 45 degrees, which means we know that the angle up here is also 45 degrees. We're still looking for NKM. We're looking for this angle right here that I'm outlining in red. So when we're looking for that angle, we can say, well, wait a minute. I know that JKM is 122 degrees, which means if I do 122 minus 45, I get 77 degrees. So the measure of angle NKM is equal, to 77 degrees. All right, let's keep going. Number 22, we see that points A, B, C, D, and E are collinear. They're all on the same line. And AC is equal to 16. So that's helpful right away because it helps us find x for 22. So if AC equals 16, that means that x plus 7 plus 2x equals 16. Then I can go ahead and I simplify 3x plus 7 equals 16. Subtract your 7, so 3x equals 16 minus 7, which is 9. Divide by 3, x equals 3. So the answer to 22 is that x equals 3. Then we say, well, what is AB? Well, AB is just x plus 7. So if we have x plus 7, we know x is 3. We have 3 plus 7, so 10. So AB, segment AB, equals 10. Perfect. Number 28. We've got some angles to write in here as well. If the measure of angle QOS equals 46, so QOS is kind of two angles on this diagram if you look at it, and the measure of angle POQ equals 28, we can write that one in right now because that's something that we know for sure. What is the measure of angle ROS? All right, oh, and I forgot, the measure of POR equals 61. So if POR is 61, I know, oops, I hope you don't hear that. My cat is being crazy. If POR equals 61 and I know POQ is 28, then I can do 61 minus 28 to find the measure of POR, which is 33 degrees. So POR will be 33. Then I know that QOS is 46. So I know, hey, QOS is going to be two angles together. So 46 minus the 33 degrees I just found is going to be 13. So here's 13. So the measure of angle ROS is equal to 13 degrees. Hey, Mac, kitty, kitty, please stop. Then we've got this big diagram right here that has 3 questions associated with it and a whole lot of information. So let's get to writing. We've got EG is equal to 3. And if I look, that is a line with a 1 hash mark. So every other line in this diagram that has 1 hash mark is also 3 units long. And I can kind of write them little like that. EB equals 8. So every hash mark, or every line with 2 hash marks rather, is going to be 8 units long. So I have some places that I can put an 8 on my diagram. AF equals 7. So that one is kind of harder for me to write in. But if I know that AF is 7 and DF is 3, then I know that AD has to be equal to 4 because 3 plus 4 is 7. Measure of angle, not line, but angle EBG is 19. Let me draw this little arrow here. So this angle right here is 19 degrees. And if you notice, it had two little arrows on it, not arrows, two little arcs on it. So this is also 19 by congruence. And the measure of angle CAE is 51. So this diagram gets a little bit crazy. And actually, I'm not going to go ahead and write in CAE for right now. We'll save that for later. So here we've got the measure of angle EFG. That's what we're looking for first. So if we look for EFG on our diagram, that has one arc. Oh, and I didn't even read this part. I'm skipping information all over the place. The measure of angle EGF is 28. So anything with one arc is going to be 28 degrees. This one also has 28. So this answer is going to be 28 degrees. Number 33, the measure of angle CAF. Well, we know that the measure of angle CAE is 51 degrees. We didn't write that in there, but this angle right here is 51 degrees, and we know part of it's 19. So we can do 51 minus 19, and that's going to give us 32 degrees. Number 34 then is side length DF. Well, we actually already wrote that down. That was in our problem somewhere as well, because that is congruent to a side with a length of 3. So DF has a length of 3. And that is it for the first page. So let's keep going down to the second page, or over to the second page here. Number 36. Dave is driving to Gilmore to visit his friend. If he wants to stop for lunch when he is halfway there, in which town should he plan to stop, and explain? So if he's starting here, and the furthest away, Gilmore, is 26 miles, then halfway to Gilmore, of course, is going to be 26 over 2, or 13 miles. So all we really need to do is find the town that's closest to 13 miles away. This is a pretty easy question. Since Springfield is 15 miles away, then he's going to want to stop in Springfield because it's closest to 13 miles away. So Springfield is closest to 13 miles away. So he should stop there. All right, number 38. The City Planning Committee wants one tree planted every 20 feet along Dayton Avenue. If the perimeter of the plot of land is 234 feet, about how many trees will be planted, and explain? So if we're going through here and we say, well, the whole shape, including this street frontage, is 234 feet, and we know some of those, we can do 234 minus 52 minus 68. That's going to give us 114 feet of frontage. Now within that 114 feet, we've got 2 places with 1 hash mark and 2 places with 2 hash marks. So what that tells me is that the frontage along Dayton Avenue is half of this 114 because it's 1 hash mark plus 2 hash marks. And the rest of the perimeter is half of that 114 because it is 1 hash mark from plus 2 hash marks. So half of 114 is on Dayton Avenue. So half of that, 114 divided by 2, is equal to 57 feet. And if we want to plant trees every 20 feet along Dayton Avenue, then we're saying we're starting somewhere, maybe over here, we're planting a tree, and then we're planting another tree 20 feet later and another tree 20 feet later. So if we do 57 divided by 20 feet apart, that's around, it's not exactly, but it's around 3. So when we're asking about how many trees will be planted, we can say about 3 trees will be planted. All right, almost done. In the diagram, FH, we look at where FH is in the diagram, that's 2FG. So however long FG is, FH is 2 of those, which means that we can put FG as X units long. If FH is twice that long, then FH is 2X, which means GH is just the same length as FG. Then we know that GH is equal to HI, so if GH is X, HI is also X. And the distance from F to I is equal to the distance from I to K. Well, from F to I, it looks like we have 3X units long, which means that from I to K, this entire distance is also 3X. So which of the following statements must be true? So FH equals HI. I know FH is 2X and HI is 1X, so that's not true. IK equals 3FG. Well, IK is 3X and FG is 1X. So IK is definitely 3 times FG. Then I'm just going down the column, by the way. Then HJ equals JK. So I look at HJ. We don't know how long HJ is. We don't know that IJ is X units long. There is no information that told us that. So we can't say that HJ is the same as JK because we don't know where J is between I and K. We don't have that information. So we can't circle that. B says HI equals IJ. So HI is X. IJ, again, we don't know how long IJ is, so we can't say that. FH equals GI. FH is 2 units long. GI is 2X units long. That's true, so D is true. And the last one, HK equals 2GI. H to K is going to be X plus 3X units, or 4X units. 2GI, G to I is 2X units, so that's 2 times 2X units, and so that's also 4X units. So F is also true. Last question. Point C is in the interior of angle ABD. We're going to have to draw a diagram here. And ABC is congruent to CBD. If the measure of angle ABC is 5/2 x plus 18, and the measure of angle CBD is 4x, what is the measure of angle ABD? Let's draw ourselves an angle here. Just like that. And if point C is in the interior, then we can make another angle. So it's in the interior of angle ABD. So there's point C. So we can mark here. We've got A, our vertex is point B, and our other side is point D, and point C is in the interior. So there's point C. And the measure of angle ABC is congruent to the measure of angle CBD. I can put 2 little arcs there to show congruence. If the measure of angle ABC is 5/2 x plus 18, and CBD is 4x, and we know that they're the same length, then we can solve this problem by setting them equal to one another. So 5/2 x plus 18 is going to be equal to 4x. And then we can go ahead and solve this problem. I'm not going to deal with the fractions. I'm going to turn that into a decimal. That's 2.5x plus 18 equals 4x. Subtract 2.5x from each side. We get 18 equals 1.5x. Divide both sides by 1.5, and we get 12 equals x. But remember, I'm not asked what is x. I'm asked what is the measure of angle ABD. And I know ABD is the entire angle that I drew in the first place. So when I go through and I have to actually say how big it is, I could do it an easy way or a hard way. One thing I notice is this angle is 4x, and the other angle is the same, so that's also 4x. So I know that the entire angle ABD is just 8 x's. And I know x equals 12, so that tells me that 8 times 12, which is 96, is equal to the measure of angle ABD. And I would have gotten the same answer if I had plugged in 12, or yeah, if I had plugged in 12 for 5 half x plus 18, but this was just easier. So 96, or E, is going to be the answer there. So hopefully this video helped you out. Feel free to scroll around in these videos. I don't expect you to watch the entire thing. Just go to the places where you need information. And if you have any questions, make sure to ask me in class. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day, folks.